Coach Adams. I'm climate coordinator, football and basketball coach, and also a mentor in and outside of the school system. And I came up with this documentary to get others to listen, watch, and understand kids on a daily basis, what they go through. To get individuals to not just pass judgment because a kid is angry. Just to understand why is he angry. To understand why is he not doing things that you ask him to do when he's in school or when he's home in general. Why he just won't wash the dishes. There's a reason for everything. Not just, he just don't do them not to just do it. Why do kids tend to lean towards their friends more so of teachers, parents, other relatives? There's reasons why. What is the reason why father's not in their kid's life? There's reasons. Lifestyle of Coach Adams, doing what I do. I'm not in my office, I'm making sure my guys is good. Come on, my guy. Yo, chill, man. What are y'all doing, man? How does this even make sense?
I'm just having a bad day.
What you mean you just having a bad day? So we just gonna fight? That's what we gonna do? What's up with you?
He's putting his anger on me.
Man, we ain't got time for this, man. Go to class. Take him to class for me, Mike. Take him to class. See, all we gotta do is ask questions. No need to pass judgment. This type of stuff happens every day. Understand the situation, understand what a kid is going through. Being understood means so much. Understanding what I go through on a daily basis, for someone to just talk to me and understand my life or what's going on, it's big to me because you can help me. It's a way you can help me. You can find a way to help me because you understand me. So that's what I do on a daily basis with the kids. Like the fight we just broke up, I understood. I'm having a bad day. We have bad days. Does that mean we should be incarcerated? Does that mean I'm supposed to kill him? Does that mean that I should be suspended because I'm having a bad day? Do you even know why I had a bad day? Like, did you know that I didn't eat dinner or I didn't eat breakfast, so now I'm irritated? No, you didn't take the time. You didn't take the time to want to understand it. You just passed judgment. Well, having a bad day is a problem kid, man. I don't believe in problem kids. I believe in kids that go through stuff. That's my take on it. No kid, while they all hoodlums, they all problem kids. No, it's not like that. Have you ever lived with them? You don't know their living arrangements. You don't know how they live on a daily basis. If you understood them, then maybe you wouldn't pass judgment. Maybe you actually lend a hand out to help. Maybe that's what they're looking for. Maybe they act out because they want help. We have kids who don't go to class because they can't read. But all we think they are, they just running hallways. Did you understand why he was running the hallway? Did you take the time? Did you ask him, why are you always in the hallway? I was once that kid. So all the questions that you might hear in the documentary or the questions that actually been answered now or I'm giving out, these are questions that I wanted to ask when I was coming up. These are questions that I would think that I wanted my mother to ask me. These are questions that I wanted my teacher to ask me. When I came to school mad and angry, there was a reason why. Something at the house. Don't get upset if a kid don't come with no pencil. Did you know that he took 3 buses to get to school and you're worrying about a pencil? That's not past judgment. It's the reason why everything happens. So myself, when I wake up every day now, I'm trying to make sure another kid is good. I'm trying to make sure another kid doesn't follow the path that I took when I was younger.
What is trauma? Individual trauma results from an event or set of circumstances that is experienced by an individual as physically or emotionally harmful or life-threatening that has lasting adverse effects on the individual's functioning and mental, physical, social, emotional, or spiritual well-being.
Welcome to My Baltimore. This is a podcast that's focusing on mental health and what it means in real life for young people that live in Baltimore. My name is Alicia Mason. I am a licensed clinical social worker, and I have years of experience working with young people and families as they deal with the many challenging things that happen in their lives. Mental health is more than just going to a doctor. Mental health is about how you take care of yourself, how you perceive the world, and how you can make the best out of the things that happen to you.
And I'm here. My name is Coach Adams. I coach all athletics. I'm also a mentor here. And we also are here with
Donetta Wilson. I'm 16.
Joshua Bell. I'm 17.
Charles Humphreys, and I'm 15.
And today we're here. The first question is, how do you guys feel about neglect in your own personal life?
Neglect. It's painful. Very painful.
It make you feel like you lost sometimes. Like sometimes when I feel like I'm neglected, I feel like I'm lost and I just want to be alone at that time.
And what makes you feel neglected? Why?
I want to be.
Give me an example.
Neglected.
When you ain't got no family.
When
You
you
got no family.
when like one of your parents in your life and the other one not.
Yeah, it's like when your dad gone, your mama's there, or your dad gone, you know.
Is this something?
Yeah.
Is this something you guys experience on an everyday?
Yes.
Yep.
So give me.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
I feel I want to let my expression out, but I can't, because at the end of the day, it's going to affect a lot of people.
Tell us some more what you mean, Donetta.
What I mean by when I say that is, I'm going through a neglect right now. It's hard, like it's very hard. Because I try my best, and I got little siblings, and my mother will do that too. In my life, I got raped twice, so I know how it feel. I know how neglect feel, everything, so you can't tell me I'm not doing my best here.
Right, and when you say neglect, neglect typically is when an adult is not providing the care that they're supposed to for the young people that they are responsible for. What you talk about being raped, that's a crime. That's sexual abuse if it happened by someone who was supposed to be taking care of you, like a family member or a babysitter or a coach.
Like myself and my brothers and sisters, nobody's with my mom. Because my mom neglected every last one of us.
And what did she do? You said she neglected you.
I say there's things that like you don't do to kids, and then you don't try to seek them, like you don't try to seek help for them. And it's like many people don't understand the reason why the things I do because the way I do them, because I feel neglected sometimes. I feel like I'm always going to be alone because the person I thought I was going to stay forever in my life wind up leaving. And it's like I couldn't go to my dad enough like that because he been neglecting me when I was little. He been left. And it's like it really messed up somebody's mindset. And it really messed up somebody's whole mentality.
So what are some of the things your mother didn't do that you expected her to do?
Sometimes she wouldn't feed us. She wouldn't buy us things that we need to bathe ourselves with. And it kind of cost us to go to the streets, to get it for ourselves. And sometimes I wish I never did that. But when I kind of look at it, she neglected me. So
Ever since my grandmother passed, my mother, if I was to tell her I got begged by a couple niggas out on the street, she'd look at me and say, not my problem. Call your father. My father was sitting in jail. How can I call?
So when your mom says these things, how do that make you feel?
Like I'm ready to bang her in her face.
Yeah,
But I don't
feel
do
that
it because that's my mother, and I do have respect. I treat her like that's my grandma. My grandma was like a mother to me. Everything I wanted in life, my grandma made sure I had it. I don't play basketball. I really don't play sports like that no more because every game I had, my mother was never there. It was always my grandmother. When I lost her, it was like school didn't even matter to me no more. I'm just getting myself back together. I was never coming to school. My 9th grade year, everybody didn't like my ways, my style. You were getting beat up. Then my 10th grade year, it smoothed out. When I got to the end, that's when the fighting kept continuing coming because you're not ready to play with me. Nobody's going to play with me.
So what I'm getting out of this, because of the neglect and the different things that went on in your household, you resorted to violence.
yeah,
Right?
basically, like for me being neglected, I say, and like for instance, like for you, like when my dad died, even though I never know him, it really put a hurt on me because it's like you neglected me when I was younger. Like, you left a woman in a 2-bedroom house with 1 bathroom to raise 6 kids on her own. You don't do that.
Yeah, like my father, when I always played sport. My mother was always there to support me, but every time like I would look in the stands, I never see my father. But my mother used to always try to tell me to leave it alone and don't worry about it. But every time like I'm by myself, I think about it, and
Cause it's like you wish that person was dead. It's like I always wish my father was there. Cause yeah, you start to feel alone. It's like you by yourself.
He got 3 kids. Me and my sister, we talk on a regular basis, but we don't have no bond. We don't got no relationship because we never was that close. My father, he just come back into my life. He just got 20 years.
what makes me upset is like not having one of my parents in my life, and like knowing that I can do something and I'm not doing it because of that.
How does it feel not to have one of your parents in your life?
Horrible. Cause cause I know that they can do it and they just not doing it. Alright, my father's in my life. I think that most of the stuff that I did in the past, or some of the stuff that I do now, I wouldn't do. Cause like I have a male figure that's my relative to tell me what I should do and what I should not do.
So it's 24 hours out of the day. How much of that time do you spend thinking about not having your father in your life?
Probably at night. Just like if I'm mad at something, it just like stuff build up, and then I probably just think about it.
And then that makes you feel
alone and just not worth nothing.
Does that affect your day?
Sometimes if I sleep on it, yeah.
And what do you do to kind of cope with that?
I play sports, so I play a lot of sports, so I go in the field and I just play hard, and then if I'm playing basketball, I play on the court hard.
Well, when last time you saw your father?
I don't know.
How did that make you feel? Now, how did it make Charles feel? How did it make you feel?
It made me mad. It made me angry. But I just had to tell Charles, like, it's nothing we can do about that. Like, at the end of the day, I'm the only one that's there for him. Because it's not like his father never was there. He just stopped at one point in time. And I can't force him. I'd be upset. I'd be mad, but that's just life. You can't, I mean, like I was trying to explain to Charles, you can't force somebody to be there that don't want to do nothing. But I was trying to explain to Charles, it's not just him that his father does it to. He does it to all his kids.
Even though me and my father don't talk, my mother helped me by sending me to school every day and pushing me to do my best.
So, what do you want to get out of life?
When I want to get out of life, I want to make money and I want to be successful and be better than what he was.
How does that make you feel as a mom?
Good, because I want him to be successful. That's why I'm keep trying to push him to do better as far as his attitude, make sure he come to school and stuff like that, because I want him to finish school and also go to college, because Charles came a long way.
Yeah, my parents, they don't really care about the environment that I'm in. Like, if I get into a fight today tomorrow, my mother wouldn't care. She wouldn't jump. But like, it's hard. Like, it's really, really hard out here. Like, you wouldn't understand the struggle. Like, school is very important. Like, school is the key for me to succeed in life. But it's more to life. It's more to life than just fighting. Because that's all I grew up doing, was just fighting, violence. That's all. I grew up around violence, fighting. Every day is always something, like, always something. Like, you couldn't even be here one day and like, something could just happen and everybody always got your name in it, or this person, and you into it. Like, everybody always got to drag somebody down the shit. Like, it just don't make sense to me. If I'm beefing with a person, when I see that person, I want to fight. I got to think maturely. Like, I'm mature for my age, but I got to think like I'm a grown woman. Grown woman. It's real hard, y'all. at the end of the day, like, I gotta realize that I'm for me. Like, I gotta do what's best for me.
I think it's important for everybody to try to understand that a teenager such as myself at the age of 17, you gotta try to understand, because once a teenager nowadays like myself feel like no one wants to understand or no one wants to try to understand, it makes you lonely, it makes you really depressed. And it makes you stress about the most littlest things and worry about the most littlest things ever. And it makes you have no love and no loyalty and no trust for nobody, including the people in your own family. What's the point of you being around and nobody don't want to understand you anymore? It's like you feel like you've never been understood. It just make you do bad things and make you say bad things and just mess up your whole life, because you feel like no one wants to understand you, basically. If I had both parents in my life, I feel like that I wouldn't made the choices and I wouldn't made the mistakes that I made in life. I feel like if I had both parents in my life would have been so much better, because I would have had love and loyalty from both parents instead of none. When I'm alone, I feel disappointed because I feel like it's my fault that I'm alone. It makes me feel like the reason why I'm alone is because of all of my actions and decisions that I made in life. Basically, it makes me feel like I'm worthless, like I'm nothing.
Not having a father in your life, how do you feel?
I feel abandoned. Not having a father in my life makes me feel abandoned. Makes me feel like I gotta grow up way faster than I thought I had to. Not having a father in my life made choices that I wish I never made, or forced me to make choices that I had no choice to make. It just made me grow up faster. It made me grow up with a lot of anger, depression.
Not having a mother in your life, how do you feel?
Not having a mother in my life made me disappointed within myself, because it makes me think about what can I do to change myself to have my mother love and acceptance in my life. It makes me feel like I'm a bad person deep down inside, because everybody wants a mother love, and it's like me not having it just makes me think about how bad of a person I am, what I did to not have my mom in my life anymore. The way I cope with not having both parents, I smoke marijuana. And I smoke marijuana, I write, do poetry, and just sometimes I just sit somewhere, listen to music, and just think about why I don't have both parents and why both parents wasn't, always supporting and always loving and caring. The things that trigger my anger is my family, myself, and people who don't understand or try not to understand about the things that goes through my mind and my self-being in my own life.
Yesterday, I thought to teach you poems and rhymes and schemes of themes and tempo and inflections. I thought to pour the wrath of your life into the glass of my choosing. I searched for a glass, teacups and tumblers, fine china and plastics, modern and classics. I looked for a way to contain you. I expected to capture the lava of your life and control the temperature, enough to keep you cool. To hone the edges of your life experiences, to use it as a tool, to do as all the others have done to change you. I thought on yesterday that I could change you, that I should change you. I thought like many others that you with your sharpness needed to change. You with your jokes and clowning, your play and your pain needed to be made better somehow. I know better now. Every hand wants to shape you, break you down and remake you, negate, abuse, and debase you. I did too. I realized that looking through my real eyes that I was the perpetrator, the status quo evaluator of brown boys. Looking at you with my perpetual frown, not knowing your true mission, of real vision, of tough decisions, of world derision, reflecting back to us, to you us, the ugliness of the American way. Too sick to heal, too sad to deal, too fake to feel the truth that brown boys revealed. When I wrote the poem, I was thinking about how everybody has an idea about what young black and brown boys are all about. We think we know them. We think we understand them, and we can tell everybody what they're doing and why they're doing it. And I was saying to myself, right, really, to me, what if I stop thinking that I'm right and that what I want for them is right, and maybe consider that what they're doing is right for them based on the situations that they find themselves in. Maybe their behaviors have a purpose that I don't understand, but it's working for them in some way. And then maybe I can just respect what it is that they're showing me about the country that I live in.
What are they showing me? What are they showing me?
I'm gonna give
What
you
are
an
they showing
example.
the younger people?
What are they showing them though?
How to do the same thing they doing. It's no excuse for the kids that just want to be out there just to be out there. It's no excuse for everybody that's 16 and older. You
think they really want to do that?
Yeah, they job.
Do you think they really want to do that? I get it. It's hard because most of the world has a hard time looking at black and brown boys and saying they're right. The world has a hard time looking at them and saying, I understand why you might be doing what you're doing or why you don't like school. I respect what you're doing.
Why not like school? What's not to like about school? What's not?
When you go into, if you went into the hair salon to get your hair done, right? And all you saw were pictures of people from a different culture. White ladies, Asian ladies, no picture of brown ladies. If everybody working in the salon, nobody look like you. You go in the salon, nobody speaks your language. Nobody wants to service you and do your hair the way you want to do it. Nobody want to do your nails the way that you want to do your nails. Everybody want to tell you that your hair ain't right, your nails ain't right, you got to get it like this. Are you going to go back to that place?
Yo.
And that's what school is for a lot of young black and brown boys. It's a place where people are constantly telling them the way you laugh and play is wrong. The way you think and talk is wrong. The way you dress and act is wrong. So no, why would they want to come here?
As a 16-year-old, what do you think a 16-year-old should be doing?
Worrying about school and how to move them out the hood.
That's just like Baltimore. That's a Baltimore thing. It's just like
Yes,
what,
sir.
16. I want to get my mama out of here.
Yeah.
That's your thing.
Like finding a step to get rich and finding a step how to get rich.
Is that quick or is that trying to do it over
It's a
time?
process.
Process. But in Baltimore, do people take the process? Or
People really exhale the process more because instead of them going to school, learning and finding the right stuff to do, they'd rather go on the block and sell drugs. The make fast money come in when you know fast money not always good money.
How do you feel about people selling drugs?
Cowards.
Honestly.
Dumb.
So-
It's dumb risking your life every day, knowing that you got a target on your back, either by your homeboys, people that's out to get you with a contract, or even the police.
How do you feel about kids that sell drugs?
Believe it or not, I'm gonna play devil advocate, and then I'm gonna jump back. I look at what was the factor that made them do it. I look at do I starve? Do I stay on the street? Should my sister continue to be molested? Or do I take this pack of drugs and be uncomfortable for a couple hours so we can just survive for another day? That's the reality of these children. They didn't wake up and say, I want to be a drug dealer. Something happened that excused their childhood and excused their consciousness of another human being to save themselves. You know, and we're to understand that human nature is the law of nature, is self-preservation. So that animal kicked in early.
16 years, about to turn 17. What have you been through?
I've been hit by 3 cars.
Yeah, say again?
I've been hit by 3 cars.
You've been hit 3 times.
I've been hit 3 times.
3 different times by 3 different vehicles?
Yes, sir.
What else happened? 16 years.
Experiencing death in the family.
Death in the family. Speak about death in the family. How does it affect you?
It affects me a lot sometimes, but it helps me more when I know that they're looking down and really helping me. I really, even though that they're gone, I'm still spiritually connected with them. I actually got a messed up right leg, but I don't let it stop me now.
So you use that as what?
Motivation.
Motivation.
He has a metal rod from his ankle to his kneecap. There's no bone there. And he plays basketball every day on that metal rod. And it's the sheer determination, but it has to go beyond that. You have to understand that could be torture, or it could be driven. Which one are you doing? Are you being abusive? Because I want to know. I want to know. Or are you really driven? The first thing I tell him is nobody can love him more than himself, regardless of what he hear or think. He has the biggest obligation to self first. So when family let you down, when things in life let you down, you must not allow yourself to be the jailer, the warden inside your mind. You can't consume other people's issues and other people's problems, and respect the fact that you are a child. You've been placed inside of a situation. You did not choose this. It's not your battle. It's not your struggle. It's not even your situation. It's your current situation, but it's not your long-term situation.
What is it like being Robbie Green living in Baltimore? What is that like?
It's hard.
How's that hard?
Because knowing that you can really get into the street life easily, but that's not about that you want to take. It's about where you want to be different.
So, I mean, you have friends, right?
Yeah.
How many of your friends are in the street life?
Mostly like 50% of them.
So how did you divide yourself? How did you say, no, I'm not doing that when you see your friends doing it?
Gym.
So instead of being outside in the streets, going somewhere else, you can be doing anything as a teenager, right? You choose to go to the rack, train, put that work in basketball.
Yes.
So that's your safe space. That's what we can say. That's your safe space.
Yeah, where I like to get my mind off, because I know my cousin. He was a basketball fanatic like I am right now, and before he died, well, deceased, he had a scholarship at Virginia Tech, and before he could take that, he passed. So I would like to go at the same route, but in a smarter way.
What words do you give Rob on a daily basis that or when you see him, to push him to take that route?
I tell him the truth. I said, listen, do you want to die? Do you want to die like a dog? Down on the street like a dog. Do you want to die? And if you do not die, do you want to die mentally? I ask him, when he do something half-stepping, I said, this the kind of man you want to be? A half a man? Or you going to be a whole man? Are you going to embarrass yourself with lies and fake? Or is you going to put your best foot forward and do what you're supposed to do? Then I don't believe you. And I'm in his face like that. I don't believe you. Prove me wrong. Tell me I'm a liar. Make me out of a liar. I want you to. And it's not a bad thing. Prove me wrong. Say, I'm going to show my aunt. She was wrong. Because I'm going to be your biggest advocate when you show me and when you're in the process. So, yeah, when he's going to the rec, I'm asking him, what about your books? What about your studies? Did you know when you leaving this rec at night, it's late, it's dark, you put your life in danger, you're not valuing yourself for a couple minutes of fun? Where we going at with this? I hold him extremely accountable. He's the third Robert. And that name for my family holds power. So, do you deserve to be named after my father that's been a man since he was 14 with the birth of my brother? I have a problem if you don't stand behind that name.
How did you feel hearing that there's this name, Robert? You're Robert. You're the next Robert. So did you know about the family history of the name Robert?
Not really till I was like, till I hit double digits.
So
They've been telling me information, but you know I'm too young to really focus on that. You know, young, like having fun and stuff. It really started getting serious when I graduated middle school. They started telling me that all this family stories, how that name carries weight.
So now, what do you use that as? Is that motivation?
Yeah.
How? All right, how?
Because I want to be better than both of them.
Miss Yvette, you had a son that lived in Baltimore City.
Yes.
You had a son that was murdered
Yes.
on Baltimore City streets.
Yes.
When you first heard that, how did that make you feel?
I have to tell you the truth and to tell you open your mind. I foreseen my son die for years before he died. I began to speak with him openly about it and speak with him openly, my family members about it. And I understand the power of speaking something out your mouth and energy transference. So I've always been real careful. But I also understand playing with the devil and in the streets that don't love you. I was oblivious at first because I was oblivious at first to his behavior because I just looked at it as being intelligent. But then I began looking beyond that because he would calculate dice in the house. He would have a notebook and actually throw them and write. If I throw them this way, how many times would I hit? How many times would it? And I became interested in what are you studying? What are you doing? Because dice is equated to the hood. Dice is equated to drugs. Drugs is equated to pit bulls, gambling, women. I began seeing him pick up a culture. I raised them, giving them too much too quick. I did. I dressed them with what they didn't earn and deserve and what wasn't needed, you know.
Right.
And when they became teenagers, I still did the same thing. But when you're in a home with a mother that is dominant as myself, but not a father, you begin to say, what she know? She's not a man. She's not out here. But I told my children, yes, I used to be. Yes, I used to be. And I never held that from them as a parent. I never played the parent that did all this good stuff.
Right.
So when my son went to get that phone call that my son was murdered, it really, really, really sent shocks through my system. It let me know, in a sense, that what type of being that I was.
So after the death of your son, after the death of Fred, what did you do to cope with that? What did you do?
I began questioning myself first for a long time. He's been passed away for 2 years now. I began questioning my mental. I began questioning, what did I do wrong? How did I do? What could I have done different? And I had to first get past that. I had to allow myself to ask myself those questions and be real honest. Be really down, dirty honest. Because if not, I would have lost my mind. Because I suffered childhood traumas. So I had to question myself. I had to question again my spirituality. What place do I hold in this universe? And if I really believe in a being, and I'm not just saying Allah or Jah or God itself, that's the title. I'm saying if I really believe in a being, and I believe in some of the things I was taught,
if the devil is allowed to do certain amount of things, if the sins of the father falls on the son, is this a generational curse? Is this something that happened because of unforeseen things that took place in my life?
If you could change something or ask someone a question, what would that question be?
And who would that question be to?
Who would that question be to?
If I had a question, I would ask Jesus, I would ask God, like, why would you give me this lifestyle? Why couldn't you just give me a better lifestyle for me and my family? You give the wrong lifestyle to the wrong people.
Yeah, we might have been created from him, but that's not his doing. That's just the individual person. I mean, you gotta, in order to do better, you gotta change yourself to make things better.
When you change, stuff still get hard.
But you stay focused and stay on task, just like I tell her every day. No matter what people say about you on the outside, you're pretty, you're gorgeous. Keep your standards high. Don't worry about what nobody say. By me being a single parent, I'm mother and father. So I gotta play the role of three people. The mother, the father, and the friend.
Agree.
Because I have mostly girls. And I want them to express how they feel to me. And then once I get a full understanding on how you feel, then I give you my response. But if you don't like the response, I want to know why you wouldn't like the response. Because I'm not going to give you or tell you nothing that's going to harm yourself.
Right.
So it got to work both ways.
It seemed like her boyfriend that she was with was always more important than me. And my little sister was always important than me.
Look at mom.
I feel like, I can't look at her right now. I feel as though like when I needed her, she was never there. When the time that I was hurting, when I was going through what I was going through, that man that she was with was always in front of me. Me, if I don't got your full undivided attention, that's a problem. That's a problem to me because if I'm talking to you and you looking around,
Yeah, I'm gonna get angry. I'm gonna get upset.
I'm gonna wanna fight you like.
Just like, what else got your
like,
attention? I'm talking to you.
I'm
your
doing
face,
that.
what
Like
else got
I'm
your
just
attention?
keep like
And she need to realize that she's not the only child.
She gotta realize that my older sister ain't the problem. She got her own 3 kids.
Well,
You gotta realize.
sorry that everybody gotta take their turn.
Oh well.
I'm only one person, but I got a heart enough to go around.
Right.
Like I said before, I have a lot of, I have 7 kids. I can't be there for each and every last one of them. But as I had turned myself around, I'm making myself available. I accept some of the things that she do in her life and some of the things I don't. But the ones that I don't, I go to her and tell her about it. But from now on, it's going to be better.
We get our students from, of course, all over Baltimore. The big piece that we see is the trauma piece that our students come with. Our students come with a lot of baggage that a lot of people aren't aware of and that they often don't share, and that's not broken down until you get to know them and build those relationships with them. So once you build those relationships with them, you hear some things that, are just, heart-wrenching, because these students come with so many different things, but they do what it takes to be at school. You have students that are homeless. You have some that parents aren't home. You have some who are taking care of 3-4 brothers and sisters. You have some who are, been abused or seen domestic violence, drugs, no father figures, no mothers sometimes. So they come with so much baggage, and I think part of, at times, what we don't do as educators, some educators don't understand that we have time we got to understand that our students are coming with a lot of things with them. So we have to kind of take the time to kind of break them down, get to build those relationships with them, and then get to the root of what the issue is. A lot of times, you get a situation where they say, oh, this is just a bad student or he's a behavior issue. Well, you don't know why he's upset. You don't know that he had to see his mother get beat last night. You don't know that he had to catch 3 or 4 buses and got up at 4 o'clock in the morning to get to school. We don't know all those things, but if you take the time to get to know the students and kind of build those relationships and break down those walls, a lot of times you get to the root cause of some of these issues. So the big piece is the trauma and the baggage that our students come with. That's the biggest piece that I've seen as something that we have to deal with in the schools. I think part of it is they got to be willing to have that conversation. So you talked about those difficult conversations. Those are those difficult conversations that in the African American community we're often afraid to have. So one thing as a culture, we have to figure out ways to educate people and to put things out there, not only for us at the school, but for us to educate our staff, educate parents, community on these things so that they can come. As we're sitting here talking, I'm thinking about, I just talked about, we did our PD around trauma. I'm thinking now, well, we probably need to expand that. We did it with our staff, but we need to offer that same training to community and the parents so they can understand too, because a lot of times they don't understand the pieces of it. So, and unfortunately, a lot of our students, especially our young men, are with grandparents, aunts, uncles. They don't understand the trauma that are there. They just think, okay, I'm watching my grandson now. But they don't understand the trauma that has happened in that young man's life before he came to them, and they don't want to address it. So I think that's something, as I'm thinking about it, that's something we need to expand to even our parents and our community.
Joshua, as part of this process, I've been involved to make sure that when difficult subjects are being talked about, that there is someone in the room that is a professional clinician that can help you get through any kind of difficult emotional experiences you may be having as you're talking about challenging experiences in your life. And you have done a really good job of sharing and being brave and really just telling your story. One of the ways that people like me view your ability to do that is that you're using coping skills. And coping skills are techniques that people use in order to deal with difficult information or difficult situations in a way that they can manage and stay calm and not just sort of fall apart or become enraged or overly sad. What do you think are some of the coping skills that you are able to use to kind of get through the difficult experiences that you've shared with us?
I say the coping skills that I use is stay calm and always, take a deep breath before I say something. Mm-hmm. Maybe sometimes I just count down in my head from 10 down to 0, mm-hmm. and just let myself know, it's okay to, share a story or express how you feel.
Yep, exactly. And I've seen you do that so many times. One of the reasons that deep breathing is so important is because it gives you a chance to pause, and it helps your body and your brain all connect together. When you take a real deep breath, what you should always try to do is relax your whole body. Sometimes people are kind of tense up here in their shoulders and they don't even realize it. So as you breathe deeply to relax, you want it to be a really deep belly breath that comes down into your stomach, not just here in your chest, and you want to relax your whole body as you breathe. So that calming activity can help you stay in the good part of your brain. Now, the way I tend to look at brain issues and trauma and coping is that this part of your brain, which is located back here, it's called the amygdala, is where a lot of emotions, basically all your emotions, are stored. Up here in the front part of your brain, the frontal lobe, the frontal cortex, is where all the decision making, the ability to stay calm, the ability to think when you're upset, is all in this part of the brain. When you take a deep breath to relax, it engages this part of the brain and takes less of the energy from this part, so that the good part is taken over. So that's why breathing when you're upset is really important. It's also important to know that breathing to calm down is not necessarily going to take you from being really upset to really chill. It's supposed to prevent the upset from getting more strong or more intense. So as you continue to breathe to kind of help yourself chill out, you're doing a really good job of acting and activating the good front part and thinking part of your brain, which is really important. What we know from research is that when people get really upset, there's usually 3 things that'll happen. You'll either freeze, fly, or try to get away from the situation, or fight. A lot of times I see young people get into fight mode, where they'll start yelling and screaming or hitting or breaking things. And that often happens because people are upset and this part of the brain is taking over. So it's important, again, to always try to stay calm so you don't fall into one of those 3 fight, flight, or fight, flight, or freeze reactions when you get really, really upset. And the more you practice it, the easier it will be to do it, because it'll become like a habit or routine. Just like people can get in the habit or routine of fighting when they get upset.
See, like, when I'm mad in the house and stuff, like, I go sit right in the tub. Just run a tub of hot water and just sit there. Like, it be feeling so good, but then when you get out, you just remember, like, wow, you had to mess up my day. So I go right back in the bathroom and just sit there again. Like, I just run back with it. Even though I already watched, so I just sit there and just run it. Like,
that's a perfect example. So taking a bath is something that's a good coping skill for you. So if you're in school, for instance, you can't take a bath in school, but you can imagine in your mind what it's like to hear the water running.
Put like, if I'm with my principal, like, the 6 soaps on them, I look at them. Yeah, they ask me certain questions, but in my head, I be like, I'll do it too much. Like, why y'all got me in here? Especially if it's something I ain't do. But if I was right there and y'all put me in, yeah, I'm gonna get mad. But sometimes I be calm. But sometimes when like Friday, when the girl walked up my phone, yeah, I was mad. But then they told me, like, it was like, I almost put you on a list not to go to prom. I said, you can't do that. That was my phone. Like, I paid the bill for that.
So in a situation like that, let's say something similar happened tomorrow, and you were trying not to be upset, you could use some of the coping skills that we've been talking about. True. You can visualize what it's like to be in your bathroom when you're relaxed by yourself. You can think about, okay, you know what, I'm going to sing my favorite song in my head, because that's a way of calming yourself down. It's
I got a little tolerance
thinking
for
about
people.
But if you use the coping skills, it can probably help.
Sometimes coping skills don't help.
Tell me what you mean.
I say, if you had a nice, peaceful day, I mean, like, a nice one. Like, you feeling it. Like, 420, I know I know y'all ain't hear about that, but 420 was my day. Like, I was cool. I dressed up. I went out. Yeah, I had fun. Why? Because I was around family.
Right.
Soon as I got back in the house, and my mother, she took her first liquor to drink. It seemed like my mother could drink so, like, it'd be so easy for her to get drunk. She blew my whole day, and I just had to, like, remember she was my mother, because she just kept hitting me. Like, I just had to remember she was my mother, because she wasn't my mother.
And that, and like I said earlier, that is an example of one of the coping skills that you use. And you said that earlier.
Like,
you're like, I cannot disrespect my mother. That's an example of making a self-statement. This is my mother. I'm not going to do what I really feel like doing. I don't like what she does, but this is my mom.
I argue with my mother all the time. Yeah, she say some things. Yeah, I say things too, because you gotta realize, just because you are adult, that don't mean that you can just say what you want to me and I not have feelings. Then when I say what you want to get in your feelings.
I think with trauma sets expectation in a way, right? So for example, if that's all you know, then how can you expect anything else or see anything else different? And so that's why we recommended to expand the exposure piece to it, right? Show them that, yes, a young black man coming from your neighborhood could be this as well. It doesn't have to be what you know or what you see outside your window on a daily basis, but there is a process to get there, and let me show you how it works. So I think having the space to talk about trauma and normalize it in the way, not to say that it's okay, but that you're not alone and that other people are going through it too, and this is a safe environment for you to talk about that, I think was a really big win for them. For me, my approach is always be humble, right? Because if you think you have the answer, it's probably wrong. The answer has to come from the group that you're working with. And so approaching it from a humble perspective, like, I have no idea what you're going through, but I'm here to help, and I want to learn, and I want to listen, and I want to be there. Teach me, I think really does help. And allowing the students or the parents to guide the direction of where they want this program to go, I think is pretty critical, because if you're trying to, what is the phrase, fit a square peg in a round hole, it's just not going to work. But if you have them guide you there, have them help you build it, have them help you validate it, then that's when you talk about sustainability, right? Because it's homegrown, and there's a certain pride that comes with it. And so my biggest advice is just to listen, really listen, and let them tell you what you need to do, and figure out how to find the resources to do it, And always, when you make promises, keep them, right? I think, especially in deprived communities like Baltimore, there's been so many people and so many programs that have made promises but don't necessarily show up. And so you're perpetuating the idea that no one cares about you, or I'm a failure. And so making sure if you say you're going to do something, do it. And if you can't, have a damn good reason why. My choice of working in education is to give back, to get the kids to understand there is a different way. I didn't have my father. I grew up, I was a terrible teenager. I took the wrong path as a teenager. So me jumping back into education, I never thought I would be in this position. Not in a million years. There's no way possible. The stuff I did outside, there's no way I thought I'd be here. But you can change. You can take a different path. No one guided me to take a different path. No one said, Coach Adams, you're gonna be a coach. Go do this. That was me choosing to do that. That was me waking up every day doing the same thing over and over again and not getting nowhere. That was me having a little brother that I don't want to see in the streets. I can't tell a kid that you shouldn't be doing this, and that's what I'm doing. It's not possible. Some of our kids, it takes 2 hours to get to school. Some of our kids eat twice a week. Some of our kids go to school in a negative neighborhood. They live in a negative neighborhood, and some of their teachers are negative. Let's just call a spade a spade. Some of our kids gotta be that father figure for their little ones when they never even had a father figure. They don't even know what it is to be a father figure, but they have to look at it after their brothers and sisters. They have to try to find a way to make money because their parents are on drugs or their parents are not around. It's a lot of stuff that goes on in these neighborhoods. They're just not out there just to be out there. There's a reason for everything.